Roughly 48 hours ago, I reported a historical event. The big message I was sending was the fact of the date and location of where Hurricane BERYL formed means hurricane season just started 4 to 6 weeks early. Here was the senior chief meteorologist for the Weather Channel with his assessment of this situation earlier today.
A scary, historic hurricane event that has played out over the last couple of days, and BERYL is far from done.
Well, I mean, you've come in and just been listing the stats on this thing, and when you're the former director of the National Hurricane Center and you're like, wow, this storm did this and this and this, you know you've got a serious system.
Yeah, there aren't all that many weather events where you go, this truly is out of bounds.
Right.
Nothing like this has happened before at this time of year. That's what's out of bounds about this is when it's happening. However, it is bad for any time of year because this is the strongest hurricane to go through any part of the southern and central Windward Islands south of Dominica that got Maria in 2017. But everything else that's gone through this area has been a little bit weaker and been in the peak of the season. So to have the worst hurricane through the Grenadine
this time of year
at the beginning of July is crazy.
Showing clips of what is reported on TV will rarely be shown on my channel. I only needed to do this to provide more proof. When I'm giving you information which is hard to believe, I like to provide proof. So when you hear the chief meteorologist for the Weather Channel basically telling you the same thing I did 48 hours ago, I think that's more credible. That's why I showed that clip. Before I started creating this channel last August, I haven't watched the news media for 20 years. I never need the media for the information that I work with. I don't need to watch and follow the storm on TV like the majority of people. So the information that I get on my phone regarding the specifics of the storm, the location with the exact coordinates, the strength of the storm, the size, and the forecast track. And then most importantly, any steering currents that could impact the track of the storm. How many people can track a hurricane with accuracy without needing a TV or a computer? What helped me create this authentic tracking style was understanding that people only care about the answer of two questions. Where is the storm going and how bad will it be? That's all anyone cares about. The problem is, after you watch a hurricane slowly march toward you for roughly 5 to 10 days at times, and you finally have a landfall coming in 6 hours, you will only know what region is getting targeted. No specifics, no exact warning of how much damage is coming and exactly where it's going to come. For liability purposes, the media cannot give you that information that everyone is starving for. I can and will have this information. Now we're going to go to the tracking map, and I'm going to start to pull back this curtain and show you how I start to track any hurricane. So the first piece of information that I always start with when I'm tracking a storm, I have to first address where is the storm. Exactly. Using coordinates. Then I will always show how many miles the storm is from my location, which is in Boynton Beach, Florida. Now after I have the distance, I then simply take the forward speed of the storm to determine roughly when this storm could hit my region. So that's the first thing I cover. Let's now look to see where Hurricane BERYL is. Right here at the 11 p.m. advisory on Monday, July 1st, we have a Category 5, 160 mile per hour winds. Let's put that aside for a second. 1,330 miles from this location to me. This storm is traveling west-northwest at 22 miles per hour. If this storm took the fastest route to me, it would take the storm roughly 60 hours to arrive. We have very good news. News that I would rarely be able to report with a storm this far away. Keep in mind, these storms that come underneath, they are the scary ones. They have long tracks, and they have the ability to come up and get right into the middle of the peninsula for Florida. They could scrape the East Coast. You just have to watch for days to a week or two. This storm is not going to hit my region. I can't say anything on this channel that's not 100% accurate. Yes, I can already tell you it's not going to hit any part of the eastern seaboard of this country. Take a look at how healthy this storm looks. Again, that's the 11 p.m. advisory. There's your numbers and direction along with your pressure. 938 millibars. The lower that number, the stronger the storm. But we don't need to get into the strength of it. All we need to understand is where it is, how far away, and then now let's look at the projected path. When you look at the path, where they have it going, right through the Yucatan Peninsula, very close to Cancun, popping out into the southern Gulf of Mexico, and either going into Mexico, or I think this storm may get Texas. What's saving the southeast coast is there's a ridge of high pressure that's going to keep this storm down. And if you look at the projected path, you can understand what I'm talking about. Trapped that it cannot go north because of the ridge of high pressure that's going to keep it to the south. So that's what saved us. It's not hitting the East Coast. The only question is it going into Mexico once it gets into the southern Gulf, or is it going to get up to Texas? That's the deal. If it goes to Mexico, lights out. I can't cover it. None of the media can. We have no jurisdiction. I'm not talking about the clip of possibly Cancun. They'll cover that. When it gets into possibly Mexico, after going through the southern part of the Gulf of Mexico, well, then the lights go out. We can't cover it. We have no information. So it's over. The track is over, which is good because this is going to be a long, annoying track. And with the intensity and the rapid intensification, the big takeaway here, folks, is the rapid intensification that's now in play. That word, most people never heard of that word 10 years ago. This is now our world. This storm was 85 miles per hour 48 hours ago. Now it's 160? This is beyond historic. They got it weakening going forward as it gets towards the peninsula of Mexico. You cannot rely on future intensity predictions, whether they're higher or lower. They just proved it. 48 hours ago, they projected this storm to be about 115 for my report tonight. It's 160. Not even close. So I don't want to hear it when they start talking about trying to predict how fast a storm can get stronger these days in this ocean that's on fire. Forget about the intensity. You only worry about that, or you factor that in when it's coming in. When it's 24 hours away and it's coming into a region and it's going to be a landfall, then I'm all over intensity. The good news for me, a tracker, is this track normally is trouble and you got to keep an eye on it for a long time. It's not hitting me, so that's good. It's not hitting the East Coast. That's good for them. It's not going to hit the Panhandle. It's not going to get Alabama or Mississippi. Maybe Western Louisiana would be an absolute furthest north I could see it going. And that would be a horrible forecast for the National Hurricane Center. So that's the deal. I'll come back probably on Thursday. By then, I'll have a better read on it. It goes to Mexico, it's over. If it gets up to Texas, I have to cover it. And if that's the case, I'll be covering a landfall in Texas over the weekend. Typically, these storms in this area, they travel quickly, like this one is right now at 22 miles per hour. That's going to go down. This storm was an easy one, thank God, when you consider where it is and what it could have done. Amazing. What a start to the hurricane season. We'll see end of the week and see what's going on for possibly Texas or if it's going to be a Mexico storm. See you next time. Stay safe.